Okay, here we go again. Once again, I have coffee to get me talking. He's not gonna be here. Don't need my boy for that. So put those down. I got my computer. So I can research stuff. All right. And of course, as soon as I start recording, here comes my cat. Come here. Come on. Come here. All right, I have my cat. Should probably pass out in my lap. During the whole episode, I wouldn't doubt it. Okay. What's up, guys? How was your weekend? How was your week? This is episode 5. I don't really have a topic for this one. It is day 97 of my 100 Tricks 100 days. And it feels crazy. I'm really excited for it to be done with. Yeah, I'm excited to put up a full-length video and to start working on another project, whether it's dialing in the stage routine I'm building, or I've got a bunch of things in my mind, but I'm just excited for it to be done with. It's fun, it's a lot of fun, but it's just a lot of work, and this is the first time I did it without taking any breaks. The first time this is the 4th or 5th. The 5th time I did it, but the 4th time I did it live. One time I did it and saved most of the tricks till the end, and then I posted the full-length video 2 years ago, I think. Something like that. Yeah, this is the first time I've done it all the way through. I mean, I still have 3 days left, but pretty sure I'm not going to miss them. Yeah, this will be the first time I've done it 100 tricks all the way through, no breaks, and also the least amount of just like random filler tricks. Like, I feel like there's a few days that I was kind of like, whatever, I just need to put something out today. But for the most part, it's all content that I'm super stoked on. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm happy that I did it. I was hesitant to do it, but I wanted to do it and have it done by the end of the year. And so I knew, like in September, I knew if I start now, September 1st, I was like, if I start doing it now, then it'll be done by like middle of December, early December. And I'll have this project done. And then even like I knew that tricks were gonna come out of it. Like if you force yourself to, if you spin poi if you do anything every single day, you're gonna learn stuff. So I knew that I was gonna learn more stuff out of doing the challenge again. And because I've been wanting to make slowly been making it, but making a stage routine that's not as much poi juggling, more 2 poi stuff, which I've never done. I've never had a 2 poi act. It's always been like 1 through 6 or 3, or it's always been multiple poi rather than just 2 poi stuff. But since this whole 100 Tricks 100 Days challenge, besides like I think 5 tricks were 3 poi, maybe more than that, but it was mostly all 2 poi stuff. So I'm gonna try to build slowly in the process, but now that I have these tricks that I can look back on, I can use them as like a foundation for, all right, bye Ken, bye. I can use them like for a foundation to build a stage routine or a video project, or that's like, I do have a video project in the works. I've already announced it, but yeah, we have the Things on Strings full-length video is gonna be coming out. We're aiming, it was supposed to come out in like the summertime, but COVID, it's just been, I wanted to get footage from everybody. I wanted to get some footage in person, but it's just not gonna happen. So I think we're aiming towards like spring. But I have the promo video pretty much ready. Just like a quick little promo video. Things on Strings, One of Us. That's what it's called, it's One of Us. And so we have that video. So I don't exactly know what I'm going to do for my video segment. I have some footage that I haven't used yet, but I'm pretty much just going to, I don't exactly know, and I don't know how much I should give away. Maybe it should be a little bit of a secret, but there's a full-length video coming out, and my 100 tricks, 100 days tricks might have something to do with it for my video part. But yeah, the whole team, everyone on Things on Strings team is going to be filming a part, whether they've already filmed it or they're in the process of filming it. And there's some people that are like newer additions to the team that we're going to be adding. Or it's like I've already announced it, but it's like the official. It's just going to be cool to have a video with the whole crew and all the homies in it. And yeah, it'll just be nice to have. And it's going to be, everyone has decent cameras these days, so it's going to be decent quality footage, and I'll be editing it. So it won't be horrible edit. I know I'm not amazing video editor, but I'm not horrible at it, so it won't be horrible. And then I think I'm gonna be putting out a video challenge for the end of the year. I want to do a video competition where you pretty much have free range to create any sort of toy video that you want, like a 2-minute video. It can be tech tricks, it can be a tutorial. It really is free for you to do whatever you want. This is the idea. I still haven't dialed in everything, but I want to have a competition. Maybe I'll have different categories. Maybe I'll have a tutorial competition. I know for sure I want to have a video competition, and the winner will be the newest addition to the Things on Strings team. I haven't said that anywhere, so if you're listening to this, maybe you'll have a little a leg up on people. But yeah, it'll be for people that aren't sponsored by anybody. So if you, or not by anybody, but if you're looking for a sponsor, that's how I should say. If you're looking to be sponsored, the video competition will be for that. It'll be one, so people can make a cool video and you can put out a piece of good content. I think having a goal of some kind like that can be good for creating something, right? I'm not like, if you create this video, then you will be sponsored, but it's like, if you create a video, that's how you enter the competition, right? It's like you have to create this piece of video to enter the competition, right? It's not like exactly what it is. So I'm gonna for sure have some kind of video competition. We'll probably have categories. There'll probably be a tutorial section, and there'll probably be a tech section, and I'll just be judging them on everything: quality of edit, probably the video quality and the quality of the edit won't be as important. I don't know. I don't exactly know. I think it's just going to be up to you entirely, and then I'm just going to go through and pick it, because it doesn't necessarily need to be the most technical toy spinning. It doesn't necessarily have to be super duper techy to be entered or to win. Like, if you have great toy spinning but your video is not edited well, it's probably not going to be fun to watch. It's like, make the video fun to watch, but also put effort into the tricks that you're doing. Yeah, video competition, all around video competition. More information will come out soon, and I'll have more details about it. But yeah, that's the goal. Have some sort of video competition. But the 100 tricks, 100 days, it's exciting for it to be done with. I'm excited to put out the full-length video, and then what I'm gonna do is film another episode on, what would it be, Wednesday? So directly after I do the last trick and I land the last trick, I'm gonna keep it recording, and I'm gonna do another podcast. So I'm gonna have like a sort of like a live reaction to finishing this thing, because I've been thinking about it, and it's gonna be such a relief for it to be done with. This is definitely the most effort I've put into 100 tricks 100 days challenge, and it's like, I'm just excited. I'm excited for it to be done with. I'm excited to have this like under my belt, and to have it as a baseline or like a foundation for what is to come next. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm gonna create the stage routine or the video project or whatever it may be, just to be able to look at this and be like, okay, this is something that I've completed, and it's like a sense of satisfaction. And then the sense of satisfaction is what allows you to, or for me, if I know I've completed something and done it well, it's easier to work on other stuff, right? Yeah, straight up, yep. Excuse me, sorry. I was talking with some people about creating tricks and the process of doing the trick. And when I put out that video clip of all the drops, I don't know if you saw it, there's a video on my YouTube and on Instagram and stuff of me, all the drops leading up to the butterfly anti-toss pirouette. Back to butterfly, it took me like 40 minutes to land it. But I put all the drops into an edit, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of drops. But it's like the process of, because it started off as a different trick. For the first like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of it, I was doing a different trick, and then I realized it might not work. It might actually not, or even though I got close, I was like, it's just not clicking. So I started doing the just anti-toss. Someone was asking me about the process of how do you think of a trick? How do you like stay motivated throughout it? And I think I mentioned it in like 2 podcasts ago, or in the last episode or something, but if you already have a trick that you know how to do, you just repeat that trick over and over, and eventually you'll start to see a gap. Or if you are doing a trick and it's not working, instead of learning how to do it wrong, try to break down like what about it isn't working. Why when I throw these butterfly tosses, why do they keep splitting? Why aren't they going up? And so I don't really know. For me, it's like sometimes I do a trick and I think it's a trick I've never done before, and then I'll get one of those Facebook memories. And it's like you from 4 years ago, and it's basically the same exact thing. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy that it's crazy that you can learn tricks and then they completely vanish in your brain. That's how at least I feel for me. So yes, thinking of tricks isn't always going to be easy. Some days it's easier than others. Like for instance, I just posted the one-hand yarn roll. The yarn roll is just the forearm roll bounce right here. This one's easier because most people have done an arm roll more than like a palm roll thing. But the palm roll, you're able to kind of grab the ball every time. So it's like if you know how to do the arm repeated roll, the roll hop or whatever, continuous arm roll, it's basically the same exact trick. You just have to position yourself differently, and there's just little tweaks that you do. Pretty much any trick can be tweaked a tiny bit to have a different variation to it. It's really endless too. Like, yeah, I think I talked about the plateau as well. I like the plateau. I like when I hit that point and I'm like, what trick am I gonna do today? Like that's, in the beginning of the 100 Tricks 100 Days challenge, it feels the hardest. It's like, what am I gonna do? And by the end of it, it's like you've stretched that muscle and you've relearned. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn off that heater. It's just gonna make noise. 1 second. But yeah, it's like by the end of the challenge, you've stretched that muscle so much and you know how to, or at least for me, it starts to feel like I know how to tap into it more. Yeah, like I feel like I can, at this point, kind of like turn on, do a new trick mode. There's like jamming out, doing tricks that I already know I can do, and then there's like create something new or whatever, new to me mode. And someone in the video, I don't remember exactly what the comment said, but there was a few, it wasn't negative at all. It was just about like, when I was doing the trick for 40 minutes, there was kind of a debate going on whether it was hitting the flow state or not. But I may have talked about this in the last episode as well, but during it, I'm like, so in my mind, kind of like frustrated. I'm like, why is this gonna work? Like I was saying how at first I was trying to do the single rotation with the pirouette back to butterfly, and it eventually turned into the anti-spin. And I was doing the single rotation, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. In my mind, I was like starting to get very frustrated. Some of the video I even cut out. It's funny to watch back video of yourself getting mad or annoyed at a trick or whatever. Losing my train of thought. What was I talking about? Doing tricks and coming up with new tricks. Oh, yeah. We were talking about whether it's the flow state when you're doing something like that, whether you hit a flow state when you are trying a trick for an hour, right? I didn't realize I had been doing it for that long, right? In my mind, I'm like, I know this can work, but it's like, how many times do I have to do it before it's going to land back in my hand the way that I want it to? Because if you can throw it and catch it, you can spin under it. Like, if pretty much anything, in my mind, I'm like, you can pirouette underneath it. Anything that has a toss, you can do a pirouette underneath it to some degree. So the singles kept splitting. And that's when I was like, well, if I do the anti-spin toss and they're staying more together, and even there's the chance that the handles will interlock and they'll stay, there's just more chance for it not to mess up. But back to the flow state point, training does put you into a flow state, because if you get to the mindset of like, I'm not leaving, I'm not stopping until I do this, then there's no, when I used to train 5-point, when I would go to the gym and I was like in my 5-point grind, it was probably not good, but I would be like, I'm not going to drink water until I leave this gym. I'm not going to leave it until I get this many catches, this many times. And it was, I mean, obviously there was times where I was like, I need water, so I'm going to go drink water, but that was and then like time would just fly by. Because if you weren't landing it, it was like, well, I've told myself I'm not leaving until I do this thing. So it's like, why even acknowledge how much time has gone by? So same with that trick. I was like, I am going to do this trick or something similar, right? I'm not going to stop. And so, yeah, you kind of just block out how much time has gone by. Or at least for me, it's like, don't even think about how many times you've tried it or how much minutes have gone by. Just make sure it's still recording every once in a while. Make sure your phone is empty so you don't have to do it a second time. There's nothing more frustrating than when you spend all that time doing a trick and then you look at your phone and it wasn't recording, or it stopped recording or something. So make sure either you film with selfie mode so you can make sure you can see that it's a recording, or check the camera. Speaking of, I should check the camera right now, because this happened last time where okay, yeah, it's still recording. Sweet, we're still good. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, so training definitely puts you into a flow state unless you're thinking about how much time has gone by. If you keep thinking, like with any flow state, right? The moment you acknowledge that you're in flow state, supposedly you get out of it. Not necessarily, but to some extent, once you acknowledge that you're in this flow state is when it goes away. Sorry, I'm all talking to coffee. So yeah, when you're training, just try to block out that point in your mind where your relation to time, which I guess totally is the flow state, because when you're in the flow state, your sense of time kind of dissipates. Is that the right word? Yeah, I think so. Your sense of time goes away when you hit the flow state. So that's probably why when you're doing a trick, or when you're like, when you approach a training session and you're like, I'm not leaving until I see progress. Maybe that's a better way to go about doing something, rather than saying I'm not going to drink water until I land this trick. It can be like, I'm not going to stop trying until I see progress. But that's probably a healthier way about going. about it rather than depriving yourself of water. Yeah, I'm excited for it to be done with. Not like done with, but I am excited to work on another project and to have this under my belt because I'm proud of it. To say the least, I'm proud of this one. I'm really stoked on the tricks that I've put out. And I feel like it's been consistently the best one that I've put out so far. That's just my feelings on it. What else? I've got a bunch of stuff written down. I don't have the microphone again. I don't know what I was thinking, but the dongle isn't I ordered another microphone. We don't have a microphone this week, to say the least. I still don't have a microphone. Dude, Apple are geniuses, right? Like, they're annoying, but they're geniuses, right? The dongle creation. Come on, kitten, come here. The creation of the dongle, right? You had the auxiliary headphones on the iPhones up until like iPhone 7 or something. And then they created the dongle, which was the Apple USB charging port, whatever it's called. I don't exactly know. And they're like, oh, well, now if you want, like, I have where are they at? I have Beats by Dre earbuds. I'm not into the wireless headphones. I just have never had good results with them. I'm not hip enough for AirPods, I guess. I still like the corded earbuds. But so I have the Beats by Dre earbuds. And I'm pretty sure, maybe I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have the auxiliary port option on them. Maybe they did, and I didn't pay attention. But I think on the earbud one, they only had, that doesn't make sense. Anyways, the point is, no matter what, you're gonna need to buy a dongle, unless you get the wireless. Maybe I should just get the wireless ones. But so say with my iPhone, since the port is the Apple charging port for the earbud thing, my headphones have the Apple charging port. But if I want to use it on the computer, where it has the auxiliary plug, then I need a dongle that is auxiliary, like female to male Apple plug, right? To go from auxiliary headphone to iPhone, or you can go auxiliary headphone to computer. So either way, you're going to be buying a dongle, like, no matter what. They're just geniuses. And then I had that thing I posted it and then I deleted it. But with my computer, I have a 2007 like iMac desktop computer, right? It's 3 years old, and I got the most recent update. This was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Got the update, and then I tried to get the trial for Final Cut Pro because I'm working on the video edit. Before I bought it, I was like, I might as well just get the trial. You have 90 days of free Final Cut, so I was like, whatever, I'll get the trial. And it was like, no, your computer isn't compatible. And I did all the updates. There was no updates. There was one more update, and it said your computer isn't compatible for this update. It was like Apple OS 10.16 or something, and mine only went to 10.14. And I made this post that was like, man, y'all are evil, y'all are geniuses. Because basically it was like, if you can't even buy Final Cut, because it wouldn't let me download the trial because they don't let you download an old version of Final Cut, right? They had the newest updated version of Final Cut that went with the newest operating system for the Apple products. So it wouldn't even let me purchase Final Cut on that computer. And I wrote this big long thing, and I was like, put so much thought into it, and I was like, whatever, I just have to learn how to use a different operating system. That's just the easiest way about going about doing it. I'm just gonna start making the switch. And then sure enough, like 2 days later, I don't think it's because of me, I think probably just enough people who bought this computer 3 years ago complained, and then they made a new update for it, and it allowed me to download Final Cut. It's silly. So it's those little things. Like, I'm sure if enough people were to have complained about the dongle, maybe not, because a lot of people did complain about the dongle, but they just do those little things where their goal, in my mind, their goal was to make anyone who bought this computer, make it obsolete for their most recent update, and they're like, oh, well, why don't you just buy a new computer? Because you couldn't even purchase it. The only way to get the old version of Final Cut was to use a new device that ran the newest operating system, make the purchase on that device, and then use your older device to download Final Cut, and it would automatically download the oldest version that would still run on your older computer, the 2007 desktop Mac. But then the new update came out, Mac OS 11.1, and then it allowed for that one to work. So I don't know if they just, probably enough people complained that they bought a $1,200 computer or whatever that stopped working after 3 years. The whole point is that something that's old, just because it's old doesn't make it obsolete, right? You don't need the newest thing. Like, just because there was a newest version of Final Cut doesn't mean that everybody wants to use the newest version of Final Cut with all these new things on it, right? It's like if their old version is still working, then they would like to still use it. But Apple isn't going to sell you something at full price. I don't think they probably legally could sell you something at full price that was a lesser version, right? If you had a computer, I think because this is a 2005, I think this is 2005. So this one also wouldn't run it before then. I haven't updated this one since the newest update. But before, they both wouldn't run Final Cut. Someone's revving their engine. What was I just talking about? Apple's frustrating, but it works now, so I guess I'll make do with it for now. What else? I've been working long hours every single day. How do you guys go to sleep early? I have this issue where no matter how much sleep I got the night before, I can't go to bed before like 2 in the morning. It's really difficult for me to go to bed at like 10 o'clock or 11 or even midnight. Like, it's easy for me to just stay up till the sun comes up, no matter how much sleep I got the night before. And I don't like it. I feel like I don't get as much work done in the middle of the night. I feel like I get more work done if I work during the day. Like, that's just a fact. And then I stay up till the sun comes up working, then I am gonna sleep until 2. And that's the worst feeling. That's even worse. And then it just makes the cycle go on more and more. But even if I stay up till 6 and then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sleep for 3 hours and then I'll get up and I'll just deal with being tired for a few hours, and then tonight I'll go to bed at 10 or whatever. I just can't. I'll just be lying in bed. I just can't do it. So how do you guys go to bed if you have trouble sleeping? Yeah, I've been kind of smoking less weed too. Less than usual. I haven't been smoking spliffs at home. I haven't had it. I don't know. Usually a spliff is enjoyable, a little bit of tobacco, but it's just not been enjoyable. So I haven't been smoking spliffs, and then I've been smoking less weed, and then I've been getting anxious when I smoke weed now. So there's been a little bit of anxiety when you smoke weed, but it's like bad. It's really bad. It's getting bad. It's not horrible. I don't want to put that out that it's like horrible when I'm freaking out, but like, it seems like with anything, it was that way with booze. Like, I liked drinking until it got to a point where I was like, oh, I don't like how this is making me feel. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm going to stop drinking. And same with, like, I don't eat sugar because I can't. That's just like, I'm just addicted to sugar, right? I can't eat just a little bit of sugar. I'll just fully relapse. But it feels like with weed, I've always felt like with weed that unless you, I think a lot of people feel this way, if you don't have a tolerance for it, you are more likely to freak out and get anxiety and stuff. But then when you smoke a bunch of weed, at least for me, I start to feel lethargic. So then I want to smoke less weed, but then I get anxiety, and it's this like, so Dude, it's weird, but I think I'm, at least for right now, I've been getting this feeling like I should not be smoking weed right now. But it's like it's like just a habit, right? So I feel like I have to do it just out of habit, but then I get anxious. And same with even drinking coffee, right? As I take a sip of coffee. Especially in the morning. If I drink too much coffee in the morning, I get so anxious and worked up. Kitten, you don't need to be on the table right now. I mean, if you want, you can go up there. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. Not really. People are going to get pissed. I said that I'm 26, but it's crazy that it's just interesting. It's interesting that coffee and weed are making me anxious more than usual when they're supposed to, not supposed to, but when it's typically done the opposite. Maybe I'm just drinking too much coffee and smoking too much or too little weed. See, that's like too much thought into. Maybe I should just not smoke weed for a little bit. Yeah, another thing about waking up late, like if I stay up and I work all night and then I sleep in till later in the afternoon, I just feel like I don't get anything done. Like especially because the sun is going down, like it's 5 o'clock and the sun, it's pretty much dark out. It's horrible, but like if I were to have woken up at 2, then that's like 3 hours of sunlight. I mean, I woke up at like 11, I think, 11 or so. Anyways, I prefer to get up early, right? I prefer to wake up early and I prefer to have the whole day to do stuff. But then once it is nighttime is when I just like can't go to bed. And then especially if I have a hard time getting up in the morning. Even if I got enough sleep, when it's just early, something about when it's just harder to get up when it's early. Maybe that's just me in my own head, but I feel like I get more done if I get up early. Even if I use the same amount of day, I feel like in the middle of the night, I get motivated to do like creative stuff, but I don't get motivated to sit down and work, right? First thing in the morning, if I wake up in the morning, all I want to do is like emails and messages and looking at numbers, and like right as soon as I wake up is when my brain is most in what is it? Left brain or right brain? One of the two is your creative side, one of the two is your not creative side. In the morning, I feel not as creative. I feel more like regulated, and I should have a schedule, and it feels good to wake up and have these list of things. Not like right when I open my eyes. Right when I open my eyes, I like to just not do anything for like at least 15 minutes, just like sit. I've been really trying when I wake up, pretty much instantly look at my phone, which I don't like. But I kind of have to. I guess I don't have to. I prefer to glance at it quick, to check everything, and then I like to go back to sleep, and then I like to ignore it. But right when I wake up, I just like to sit there for a little bit, and then I get up and I start making coffee, which maybe I should not drink coffee right when I wake up if it's been making me anxious. But I like to stand in the kitchen in front of my big old window, south-facing window, in whatever sunlight we have during this time of year. Oh, I'm kidding. And yeah, I like to sip on coffee, and then I go into the shop and I start doing, usually I try to do emails first thing in the morning. But then when it starts to get later is when I'm like, it's so hard to check emails in the afternoon. Yeah, I don't know. But then I also like, I like schedule. I like having a schedule, but I can't do it for too long. So I'm trying something right now where I make a weekly schedule and I rearrange the schedule every week. So say there's like, you can go up there if you want. Say there's like 6 things that I typically need to do in a day, right? It's like emails, filled orders, do a trick. I don't know. Say you have your daily schedule, right? And then the next week, instead of rearranging it a little bit so it doesn't start to feel so repetitive. Because when I start doing the same thing over and over and over is when I start to feel like just monotonous. Is that the right word? And that's when I get in my own head about like, what am I doing? I'm just doing the same thing over and over. But as long as it's not too regular, then I'm okay. Even with like I have written down, just talking about eating good. I feel like that's always been a hard thing for me, is sticking to not even like a diet, right? But just making sure that when I'm eating, I'm not eating, I don't care about eating pizza, right? Or I can't eat sugar. I can't have cookies and anything with sugar in it. Sweets, because I haven't had a sweet in like over a year. And I mean, I had like erythritol. I've had like chocolate that was sweetened with erythritol, or even like honey. Or one time I had some cookies that were made with coconut sugar. But even then, someone brought me cookies made with coconut sugar. They brought me like 12 cookies or something. And I was like, oh, I'm totally over my sugar addiction. I can do this. And I just ate them all in one sitting. Like, that's my issue, is that I can't, with sweets especially, is I will just eat however many is there. Same with chips too. If there's a bag of chips or there's like a box of Oreos, there's no saving them for later. That's like not an option in my mind. In my mind, it's make them gone so that they're not there, right? Either throw them out or eat them so that they're not there. Which is, I just always had a little bit of a, I guess, addictive personality. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. I have an addictive personality, so it's easier for me to just fully eliminate things that might potentially, like sugar for sure was an issue. I was just eating too much fucking shitty sweets, and my teeth are rotting. It felt like my teeth were rotting away. My teeth are, they're not horrible, but they're also not perfect. Yeah, I had to quit sugar. There was no middle ground with sugar for me. But just eating good, even that, like if I am eating super clean and I'm like, all right, I've been eating super good for like however much time, that starts to feel like okay, the thought of never eating a piece of cake again, never eating like whatever it is, whatever candy or sweets or whatever, that is kind of sucky to think about. But it's been so long now that I'm kind of over it. I'm like, I could just not eat that stuff forever. But like, I don't know, I love pizza and I love nachos and that kind of stuff. So it's like, you know, I can eat well, but then again, it's like when I want to switch up the schedule, I want to build a schedule, and then I want to switch up the schedule. I think everything with a little bit of moderation is good, right? Like if you're going to stick to a diet, I don't like the word diet, because it makes people think that you're, there's a difference between going on a diet and just eating good, right? I like to just eat good. I like when I'm just eating fruits and vegetables, and I have signs written all over my house that just say eat real food, because like I have to remind myself to just not eat bullshit all the time. Not eat, if you're hungry, like cook something, make a smoothie real quick. It's so easy to make a smoothie, right? It takes 90 seconds to put some frozen fruit and some almond milk in a blender and blend it, and then you aren't starving, and then you can think more about, I'm just probably saying this out loud for myself to hear it again, but it's like when I don't eat, that's when I'm more likely to just like open a bag of chips and eat it, or order a pizza. It's when you get to that point of no return and you're like, fuck it, I'm ordering a pizza, I don't care. And then I always, the day after I eat pizza, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't eat pizza. And then anytime I wake up, what do they say? There's a saying about drinking alcohol. The best thing about, I heard this on Bill Burr's podcast. The best thing about not drinking is waking up having not drank. And that's exactly how I feel about junk food, right? The best thing about not eating pizza late at night or eating food right before you go to bed is when you wake up in the morning and you didn't do it. And you're like, yes, like for me, I guess it's kind of my addiction is eating junk food. Junk food, and candy was a bad one. I cut out candy out of my life entirely, pretty much. Yeah, I haven't had, even like I've had candy on Halloween for like the last 2 Halloweens, which is kind of depressing, but yeah, I say everything. Well, there's a song, it's like everything in moderation, even moderation. Because even then, it's okay to just say fuck it sometimes and just like eat whatever you want, or to get drunk, or whatever it may be, whatever your thing is that you like to do that maybe you don't feel like you should. Like for me, smoking weed. I know that I should probably be smoking less weed if it's making me have anxiety, but also it's like, don't be so upset with yourself if you can't hold yourself to like the standard of what you want to do. So with me and like food, I feel great when I'm eating good. I mentally feel clear. I physically feel healthier. But if I'm gonna eat pizza, it's like the stress of worrying about the thing that you're doing that is bad in your mind can sometimes be worse than what you're actually doing to some degree. So it's like, if you're gonna eat pizza or you're gonna do whatever your vice is, it's like, enjoy it while you're doing it, but just try to not make it a habit. And if you are making it a habit, maybe it's not something that you can do just a little bit. Like that's what I felt like with sugar. Sugar is just not something that I can have in the house and only eat a couple cookies here and there, or have a spoonful of sugar in my tea and that's it. Like I'll fully people need to rev their engines like that. You need to be heard, right? You make the whole neighborhood hear you. Yeah, sugar is just not me. Sugar don't coexist well. What else? How long have we been doing this? Oh, hopefully we're still recording. Let me make sure it's still recording. I'm gonna be real bummed out if it's not. Please still be recording. Thank you. 42 minutes. Oh, one more thing and then we're gonna go. We've been recording for like 42 minutes. I was watching his videos. I was listening to Joe Rogan. He was doing a podcast with these dudes who made a documentary. They make alien documentaries. And they had this story about this school in Zimbabwe. It was the Aerial School for Children in Rua, is that what it is? I think it's Rua. Yeah, Rua. R-U-W-A. I might not be saying it right. Sorry if I'm not, my apologies if I'm not saying it correct. But these kids in 1994 look it up on YouTube because it's pretty incredible. It's a group of kids had a alien sighting in 1994. They saw an alien, like a UFO land, and they saw 2 beings come out. And they interviewed all these kids like the next day. Or no, the next day they had them all draw pictures of what they saw. 60 of like the 300 kids that were at the school saw it. And they all drew pictures, and all the pictures are exactly the same, and all their stories are exactly the same. And it's these young children between the ages of like 6, I think the oldest one was 12. And maybe I'm gullible, but it doesn't seem like they're lying. Like it seems like they were truly scared and kind of like traumatized by this experience that they had. And they even interviewed some of them like 20 years later, and they're explaining it, and their stories are the same. And the woman was explaining how the face was like morphing from the humanoid face that it was back and forth between the humanoid and the lion. And how it's just very, very interesting that these young kids, you're looking at these young kids explain it, and they're like looking for the right words to explain stuff because they don't even have the full vocabulary, but these kids are really well spoken. I don't know if they were like I don't know if it was a school for like extra smart kids or something, but all these kids are very well spoken. And I'm not saying it happened or it didn't happen. I'm just saying look it up. Go watch that video. Look up, go to YouTube and look up alien kids Rua, Zimbabwe, or something like 1994, and then it'll come up. There's a bunch of shorter clips, and there's one that's like 29 minutes long. But they've been getting deleted from YouTube because the guy who made the documentary, I don't know if it's his footage that he owns or if he licensed the footage, or if someone licensed him the footage exactly, but some of it, like I was watching a video and then like refresh the page. I was going to try to download it, and then the video was down. So they're definitely removing the videos because the guy has a documentary about it, which also makes it fishy. It's like if this was real information and you were actually concerned about people finding out about this information, you'd think you wouldn't be charging money for the documentary. But then again, I understand, like, just because you love something and you really care about it, you have to make your money back. I mean, if you spent a bunch of money making the documentary, you have to make some money back. But I say look it up. It was very interesting. It's because I heard it on the podcast and I was like, man, whatever. Like I love alien stuff and UFO sightings, but I'm just kind of like, half of them just, you see people talking and they're instantly like, oh, here's my book, here's my thing that I'm selling. And I don't know, it's always iffy, but when you are talking to kids like that, they just don't seem like they're making it up. They just seem like they were honestly, like, I feel like you can see in their eyes that they're like remembering what happened. It's very interesting. Look it up. But I think that's it. We've been going for like 45 minutes, and I don't even know. I just kind of ranted about whatever. So we're going to leave it at that. And what's something we can leave on? Everything in moderation, even moderation. Yeah, that's probably a good way to end it. Everything in moderation, even moderation. And then, that quote from the Bill Burr podcast of the best part about not drinking is waking up having not drank. And that doesn't necessarily have to be for alcohol. That can be for whatever your vice is that you don't necessarily want to be partaking in as often as you want to. The best part about not doing that is waking up in the morning having not done it. All right, y'all. Have a good week. I will be posting this today, Sunday, or Monday, or whatever. Today's Sunday, but I'll be posting it one of these days. And hope you have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye.
But you got your own song to write. Just say I know that I'm good and I'm